Hey everyone, this is Rowdy's blog of Animation Bliss, and welcome to the Retro Animation Corner. Today's retro animation is going to be on the Flintstones. The Flintstones was an animated cartoon that was made in 1960 by Hanna-Barbera, and it remains to be one of the most memorable cartoons made by Hanna-Barbera, right next to Scooby-Doo. And this is just one of those shows I continue to watch to this very day. I never got tired of watching the show at all, so I still watch this a lot nowadays, so I definitely watch the show a lot. No, whenever I get the chance to. So let's talk about what the show is all about. Basically, the Flintstones is about a prehistoric family called the Flintstones, where it has Fred Flintstone, Wilma Flintstone, and the baby daughter Pebbles, and how they have their adventures with their next door neighbors, the Rubbles, which has Barney Rubble, Betty Rubble, and their adopted son Bam Bam. Um, so what I really liked about the show was the fact that even though it takes place in the Stone Age, these characters act like your average modern day family. Like I like the fact that these characters act so modern day instead of acting like your stereotypical barbarian, because it makes them much more charming. And I always like the fact that even though these characters live in the prehistoric age, um they act more like modern day family, like a modern day family. Like for example, they would use various prehistoric animals as furniture or appliances. Like they would use they would have those little rock those hard boulder like chairs that they sit on, that's like a sofa or something like that. Or they would use like various prehistoric animals as to iron their clothes, or to like let's see, hang their clothes on, stuff like that. I think that's what all those things makes this show so charming to look at, is how they use all these prehistoric animals as appliances instead of using an stereotypical barbarian way. So that was something I always liked about the Flintstones, is that these characters were so charming in their personalities, and also it was interesting to see how they live in the Stone Age and how they still treat it like your average modern day society. And in this case, it takes place in the 1960s, so there's that. Probably my favorite character in the show was Fred Flintstone. I know he could be a grouch most of the time, but I love the fact that he even though he's pretty grouchy most of the time, he cares a lot about his wife Wilma and his daughter Pebbles. So I really like that really charismatic side of Fred, or that caring side of Fred, because it really makes me fall in love with his character a lot. Like he's it makes his character a little more complex, that he's both grouchy but he's also caring at the same time. So I really like that aspect of his character. And I really love Wilma Flintstone also. She's like the only character in the show who could talk down to Fred whenever he starts scheming about something that could get the whole family in trouble. So I really love the fact that Wilma is so level-headed, and she's like the only person who could tell Fred, this is a bad idea, or you shouldn't be doing this and that. So I really like Wilma's personality with that. I also like the fact that they introduced Pebbles Flintstone to this show. Not only did I find Pebbles to be really cute, but I think she gave a lot of character development to Fred as a character. Like at the beginning, Fred didn't see it seemed like Fred didn't like kids, but when Pebbles was born, it's like Fred devoted his time to becoming a good father to Pebbles. And I really like that aspect of Fred's character, is that he's trying to learn how to be a good father, but he's still like the same grouchy yet scheming person that we saw at the beginning of the series. So I like the fact that Fred has become a little more caring as a character when Pebbles was born. Um, I also love Fred's relationship with Barney Rubble. Like it's like he has this love-hate relationship with Barney. Like it's either he's always insulting Barney, but at the same time he cares about Barney. And if Fred feels like he did something bad to Barney, he always tries to make it up in the end. So I really like that aspect of their relationship. I always like the fact that Barney Rubble is like always is just as level-headed, even though he's just as level-headed, or he'll be the one who's like questioning Fred's scheme. So I like that aspect of Barney's character too. But sometimes he'll go along with Fred's scheme. So I also like the fact that Barney's so laid back as a character, and he's like contrasts a lot with Fred's moodiness for the most part. So I definitely like Fred and Barney's relationship in that regard. And I just love how charming and witty the show is. The humor is like really funny. This is like those type of humor that can never get old no matter what. It comes stems a lot from Barney and Fred's relationship with each other, and I really love that aspect of the show. If there was a problem I had with the show, it'd probably be when they introduced the Great Gazoo, and that's because I felt like the Great Gazoo felt so out of place with this show. Like, this is a show that takes place in the prehistoric era, and here you have a space alien who suddenly comes in and starts doing all these futuristic things with the characters, and it just felt so out of place with a show that takes place in the prehistoric age. And you have a alien suddenly show up in the out of nowhere. So, that's how I felt about the Great Gazoo's character. I mean, I don't hate him enough that I want him to die 1,000 deaths, but I feel like, did he really need to be there at all? I mean, the show would have still been charming enough without the Great Gazoo, I think. So that's my opinion about the Great Gazoo. Overall, I think this is a show that you should definitely check out. It's one of the best shows or best cartoons ever from the 1960s. So if you're looking for a classic cartoon, this is a cartoon you should definitely check out. I think it's a really great series. It's still memorable after all this time, and if you're looking for a timeless classic, then the Flintstones is definitely your type of show you should be checking out. Well, that's my review on the Flintstones. And be sure to like our Facebook page and follow us on Tumblr. And if there's any other retro cartoons from the 1920s through the 1970s that you want us to review, please feel free to comment below and we'll see what we can do about it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rowdy's blog at Animation Bliss, and I'll see you later.